test match. India have won the series.
They're going to get back for two. India at home. Lords goes wild.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the T20 All Out podcast. This is your host, Siddhartha Vaidyanathan. And I'm joined today by two regulars, Ashoka and Kartikeya. Both of them on X, and I'll link their handles. Kartikeya also writes a regular Substack. We are here today to talk about the Super 8 stage of the T20 World Cup that just finished. India, South Africa, England and Afghanistan have moved on from the Super 8 stage to move on to the semi-finals. That's going to happen soon. And it turned out to be quite an exciting part of the tournament. I mean, this moved from the USA to the West Indies after the early rounds, and quite a few surprises with the pitches, quite a few topsy-turvy results. Afghanistan making it to the semi-final, of course, is the huge story of the day. Quite a remarkable achievement for a team that started playing cricket barely 20 years ago. I mean, Afghanistan played their first official cricket match as a cricket country in 2004. So to have, within 20 years, to have reached a World Cup semi-final, despite not playing at home. I mean, their home is in Dehradun, and the BCCI have done their bit to help out Afghanistan in that regard. And even then, I mean, it's not like Afghanistan play as much as they would ideally want to. But despite everything, despite all the challenges they face, to have made it to a World Cup semi-final is a monumental achievement. So that remains the story of the day. It also meant that Australia went out of the tournament because Afghanistan made it. Australia, of course, earlier losing to India in a high-scoring game. Rohit Sharma sort of starring in that fantastic game. India making 205 and continuing their unbeaten run in the tournament. They will face England now at England and Guyana. England, of course, having a pretty curious tournament. I mean, apart from that victory against West Indies, a very comfortable victory against West Indies, England actually lost to South Africa in the Super 8. They lost to Australia in the group phase. But I think the format is such that you can, a lot of it depends on the margin of victory, and a lot of it depends on when you win. So the early round points don't carry over, so that helps. And then on top of that, you also have the Super 8 structure and the group phase. So anyway, and the fourth team being South Africa. Again, South Africa have been unbeaten in this tournament, just like India. It's quite remarkable that they pulled off victories against, almost all their matches have been close. Nepal was a really close encounter, which they could have easily lost. They ended up winning. They, beat Bangladesh in a really close, tense encounter. And even the latest victory against West Indies, which pushed West Indies out of the tournament, that came in a really close finish. So, four semi-finalists, two of them who have never won a World Cup before. That's South Africa and Afghanistan. So it'll be quite a story if one of them win. And then, of course, you have India and England playing in the other semi-final. And we'll wait and watch what happens there. Anyway, Ashoka, Kartikeya. Ashoka, you can come in. I didn't mention a single word about the greatest actor of our generation, Gulbuddin Naib. But I think that has to be highlighted.
Very rare that a team will go into the semi-final of the World Cup and also win the Oscars in the same night. But apparently, that happened. I mean, the problem is I don't even have anything against Gulbuddin Naib because he seemed to want to be in the semi-final more than the entire Bangladesh team, man. I don't understand what the Bangladeshis were doing. You need 112 in 12 overs. Just go for it. No, get all out for 70. That at least is understandable. What were they applauding and taking singles for? So I don't have a problem with that because if he is found to be wasting time and all that, deliberately wasting time, he'll be fined and ICC will take steps. But it was good fun. But overall, in the Super 8s have been very good, and predictably, USA got knocked out because they had to win 2 out of South Africa, England, and West Indies. I guess you're asking a lot from them. So, I was a little disappointed that West Indies got knocked out. I thought they'll make to the Final Four. But unfortunately, I generally thought they had a bad last 5 overs against England in the England match, where they were like 137 at the end of 15, and then they only made 180 something. So and England chased 180. So I think that one small phase cost them. The match against South Africa, which West Indies played, was very, very tight. So it's very small margin. I mean, there was a ridiculous situation that South Africa, having won 6 matches, had they lost their 7th one, they could have been knocked out. Whereas England, having lost 2, could have gone through. So
England basically went through by beating one beating West Indies, which was the top flight team, and South Africa would have gone out by losing 1 game. The format is weird like that, but you
very
play
weird.
it what it is. Yeah,
it's very weird. So anyway, so that was slightly disappointing that West Indies got out. South Africa, I mean, they are. I think the law of averages is finally catching up to them. They are making up for all the unlucky things that have happened to them in all the World Cups by winning by 4 runs, 1 run, 7 runs, and 4 balls remaining. And even their match with the US was very close. They won by just 18 after making 190. So
even against Sri Lanka, they got them out for 70 something, and then it wasn't like a comfortable victory. They were still like
Miller bailed them out. So I don't think these kind of pitches suit their style of play. Anyways, they prefer ball coming on and a little bit more bounce. Then they'll be really, really deadly. But they have made it through. This side, it was more interesting. I thought all 4 teams had their chance. I had higher hopes of Bangladesh than Bangladesh players themselves. I think they were ready to, I thought they had promise. If you really see, Bangladesh and Afghanistan are essentially have had the same kind of performance, where their bowlers have been really good, really solid, not giving anything away. But for Afghanistan, their top 2 have performed, and whenever Rahmanullah, Gurbaz, and Ibrahim Zadran, yes. So when they have batted for 10-12 overs, they would have. I mean, they invariably go on to win the match.
I mean, against Australia, they put on 118 or something, right? For no loss, and that made a huge difference in that match. Yeah.
Even against New Zealand, their first match when they hammered New Zealand, these 2 only scored a lot of runs. So that has been their pattern. I mean, Bangladesh didn't have anybody in their top 5, and that is surprising, man. They have a lot of good talent. Hridoy is a good talent. Jaker Ali is actually a decent talent.
Litton is a very good bat.
Yeah, Litton is a good bat, but the last 1 year, I don't know what the hell is happening with him. But so I'm kind of disappointed that Bangladesh didn't put a little bit more fight. Afghanistan made it through, great. Australia didn't make it through, also great. India made it through. I thought India, among the 4, were the most likely to go through. They would have beaten at least 2 of these 3 teams, at least Afghanistan and Bangladesh. Australia, I was not sure, but somehow they got our great Rohit Sharma to hammer them. Somehow he came, all his swinging from the ODI World Cup. Finally, one innings where he was not out for 40-45 balls. All that paid dividend. So yeah,
ODI World Cup, he may well have played this innings in the final. Who knows, that catch stopped it, but he was threatening such an innings then also.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that Afghanistan going through the semi-final is a surprise or an upset or whatnot. I thought all four teams had their chance, and it's good for Afghanistan that they have gone through. It helps their cricket interest in their country. Hopefully they.
Well, if you remember the ODI World Cup, Afghanistan could have beaten Australia in that match if not for that really freaky Maxwell innings, and could have had a chance to go through there too. So, the pitches make a huge difference for them. Like, I think really flat batting wickets will not suit them because they are more a bowling reliant team. But all these pitches in the West Indies, I think they're throwing up this, perfect conditions for them, and it's helping their spinners and even their seamers. Naveen is bowling well, and the other lefty, Faruqi, right? His name, he's also they're bowling well. As a complete unit, they are doing really well in those conditions.
Yeah, so they are kind of a team under this Trot regime. You notice that in the World Cup, ODI World Cup also, that they have a very solid plan A, and they make 11 based on that plan A, and they stick to that plan A, and whenever that plan A works, they win or they do well. They compete really good. If that plan A goes out of the window, they don't have anything else. Here you see that their two openers have to bat at least 13, 14 overs. And then the rest can come in and hammer for 5-6 balls. That's their entire strategy. They don't want their number 3 to come before, the 8th over or something like that. They really take their time. And they think that by doing this, they will get to 140, 150, and then they have the bowling to restrict that on these conditions. So whenever that plan has worked, they have won the match. Whenever it hasn't worked, they have gotten hammered. They got hammered against the West Indies because of this. They got hammered against India. And whenever it has worked, against New Zealand and Australia, they have actually won the matches. So even against Bangladesh, I thought this match Bangladesh should have won. This was like ridiculous. But anyways, so they seem to have that one plan. If it works 4 times out of 6, they are in a good shape. So it's not a bad strategy for a new team to take. So, fair enough. They have done, they have exceeded even their expectations.
Yeah. Kartikeya, thoughts? Have you been following much of this World Cup? General thoughts on format and games?
Yeah. No, in the first T20 World Cup in 2007, South Africa won all their games but one, and they were still eliminated out of the Super 8 because the Super 8 group was India, England, New Zealand, and South Africa. And India, New Zealand, and South Africa won 2 out of 3, and England lost all 3. But South Africa's run rate was marginally lower than New Zealand's, and that put them into 3rd place. So South Africa won every match but one, and they went out on net run rate. So this has happened before in this Super 8 format to South Africa. So it would not have been unprecedented if it happened this time. One of the interesting things is that if you have like a small group, like four teams where they're all playing 3 matches, and like 1 or 2 of them are very low scoring, it's a low scoring match where it's 120 plays 120, and it's both innings go deep, and then there's one high scoring match. Then the high scoring match is sort of disproportionately effective, influences the net run rate. So they might want to consider like normalizing the net run rate difference over a team for each match, and then taking the average of the normalized difference. So
Yeah, that's definitely, especially for World Cups like this where there's such a variance in scores.
And in T20, like in one days, it doesn't matter. Like the whole net run rate system is inherited from one day cricket. No, I mean the range of scoring in one day matches is not that great. So that like it's usually between traditionally it's been somewhere between like 3.5 and 6 runs per over. And the 3.5 is really rare. I mean, in the World Cups where you used to have the 3.5, 4, like 180, 200, 220, those matches, the 300 match was really rare. Whereas in this World Cup, it's fairly common to have the 200 plays 180 match, and it's also equally common to have the 120 plays 125 or 115 match. So that's a bit of a interesting problem. So I mean, I think they should normalize it. I think they should say how for each match they should estimate like the percentage difference in the net run rates and then average out that percentage difference over matches, because that will that will sort of be a little bit fairer, because otherwise it's like teams which get caught on these play like 2 out of 3 matches on these low scoring surfaces versus teams which play 2 out of 3 matches on high scoring surfaces. The net run rate equation is not going to be fair to both of them. So
but I have a more fundamental question. Is net run rate itself, is it like worth a metric to sort of decide this? Should that itself be reconsidered?
No. I mean, it doesn't work like that. No, I mean, it's not. There's a hierarchy. No, the first distinction is who wins more games. The second distinction is who wins more points. In case there's a rain abandonment or something like that,
or a tie.
Although in a tie, I think they still force the result with the super over and all that. So and then. Basically, if you can't separate the teams from those methods, then you have all this left. So I mean, the differences are marginal, but the question, it's not a question of whether it's a good system. I mean, it's a system, but in T20 it needs to be tweaked a little bit. But I don't know if they'll do it, but we'll see.
No, I think T20 World Cups, it's definitely worth. It's a great idea because the variance is very high, especially I mean, even I can see even a World Cup being held in England or India, I can see such variances depend because of the conditions changing.
There are teams which are getting bowled out for 106 and 110, like less than a run a ball, and there are teams which are scoring like 10 runs per over, right? So I mean, it's
like Sri Lanka got bowled out for 77 or something, right? Yeah. So in that group match. Yeah. But then there was a high scoring game that happened immediately after that. So that's true.
Yeah, I mean and this is all very noisy here. I mean India versus Australia. If you see, if the ball had turned as much under lights in Ahmedabad as it did here, India would probably have won. I mean, if the ball had gripped as much,
in the World Cup final, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, this is a great rivalry, India versus Australia right now, and it's a great all-format rivalry. I don't think there's any other rivalry in cricket which comes close or has ever come close to this one. And it's just Australia have this extraordinary generation of players, and India have this extraordinary generation of players. And the great thing is they're all roughly the same age.
What are you saying? The greatest rivalry in cricket is India versus Pakistan. 27 billion people will watch it.
No, sorry, Ashoka. We all know the greatest rivalry in cricket is Bangladesh-Sri Lanka, okay? I mean, come on. You can't...
Nagin dance.
The Nagin rivalry is just the greatest ever. Yes. We should dwell a bit on first things, the biggest story for me at least. We should dwell a bit on Afghanistan. I mean, what do you make of that? I mean, for a team to achieve this a semi-final in a World Cup, and it's not like this is a bolt from the blue. I mean, this is something that people saw coming. They saw coming in 2023. You could easily see them making a semi-final before this also. I mean, there is a certain enormity to this achievement of what they've done.
They did make the 90. They nearly made the ODI semi-final last year.
Last year. Yeah.
I mean, but for them losing to Bangladesh, they would have made that semi-final. I mean, they beat Pakistan, they beat England, and they nearly beat Australia in that World Cup. So, I mean, I think they have a good spin attack, and that takes them quite far against, especially teams which are not from Asia. Although, if you look at their record against Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh recently, and that record is also not bad. Australia was an upset, I think. But I don't think them beating Bangladesh is an upset. They have been competitive against Bangladesh for a while. I mean, they are basically like a team in exile, no? I mean, their coach has never been to Afghanistan. I think their players are also mostly based not in Afghanistan. So
I think their players benefit. Quite a few of their players benefit a lot from the T20 leagues. I mean, Nabi being a classic example.
There's a lot of very experienced professional T20 players in their side. No, I mean, Nabi, Rashid, Omar Zai. A lot of
Naveen.
Gurbaz,
yeah.
Mujib.
Yeah. I still think they shouldn't be playing right now. But that's...
That's because of the
there seems to be no will to kick them out. I mean, I think all the reasons for which it was right to kick South Africa out apply here as well. I think they should be applied. But there's no will. But the difference is that in 1970 in South Africa there was a lot of domestic pressure in England and in Australia and places like that to kick South Africa out, and especially in England, Peter Hain and all. A lot of MPs were involved. There was public pressure, and that public pressure is totally absent here right now. So I don't think it's going to happen.
What do you make of the sort of the other side of the argument that goes that when South Africa were exiled from international sport, it actually hurt them? It made
but that's not the point. No, I don't think they were exiled because it was decided based on whether it would hurt or harm them. They were exiled because it was a statement of what values you hold, not what values and what values you're willing to live with. That's the question. No, I mean it hardly. I mean the question of what will happen to Afghanistan cricket and all is a trivial question, compared to this. So
I agree. You do what you think. You do the right thing.
You behave according to your standards. No, so really the question of whether Afghanistan should play, given that their government prohibits half their population from studying or playing or any such opportunities for self-improvement and enjoyment which are given to the male population of Afghanistan. I mean, are you okay with that? Are you willing to? Are you willing to live with that? That's the question. The question is about us, not about them.
Could the option be then what has happened with Russia at the Olympics? They play as like some other independent team, or they just don't play.
Yeah, I mean, they could. No, I mean, frankly, the ICC could just create an Afghan board in exile and put out a women's Afghan team, and just ignore what the government of Afghanistan says. But they have to do something.
So what stops England from forfeiting a match against Afghanistan in a World Cup or Australia or whatever? Because Australia don't play bilaterals.
Well, what stops any team from doing that? No, I mean, they could. But for that, there has to be public opinion, no? Which is going to, teams are going to do that if there is public pressure on them to do that, because this is a matter of politics.
Exactly. So I really don't think I have an opinion either way. If we all know the histories of countries, a lasting change to the country comes from its own population. And that doesn't happen in a year or a two or even 10. Sometimes it takes 50, 60 years. Like, look at our country. We are still changing.
Yeah, but Ashoka is right. Look at South Africa. They were banned in the late 60s and like apartheid didn't end until the late 80s, and it ended because of several reasons. And this was a small part of it, but it was a part of it. It chose to be at least a part of it. It could have chosen to be on the other side. And at that time also, there was a basic split in cricket. Like India and Pakistan and West Indies, they were just flatly refusing to play South Africa. Even before, like India never considered playing, like in the 50s and the 60s. India never.
They even considered a Davis Cup. No.
Yeah.
There should be some level of transparency, at least in communication. You can't have a deceitful stance of saying that sports unites people. This is all like universal brotherhood. See how many countries are participating. Whereas one of your own members do not let women to be cricketers. Forget cricketers. They don't get basic rights. That's then drop that all that shtick. You're not fooling anybody.
I think the reason why it's important is, I think, as fans, just as you're watching Afghanistan enter a semi-final and sort of taken the enormity of the achievement of the fact that the team that played their first official cricket match in 2004 are now regular contenders for World Cup semi-finals. I think as 2023 they could have easily been in the semi-finals too. Just as you've taken that inspirational story, it's also important to grapple with the other question of them not having a women's team and their government not recognizing women's cricket team and the women's rights and things. So I think, it's equally vital to see both, to sort of at least engage with the question at the individual level. Moving on, Australia versus India. Mitchell Starc was left out for the game against Afghanistan. And there was a bit of a furor in the Australian press about that. Then Mitchell Starc came back for the India game and had a bit of an off day, at least to start with. He did get Rohit in the end, but was maybe too full, maybe trying for a bit too much swing. What did you make of Australia?
He had 5 bad balls. That's it.
In that one over. Yeah.
That 1 over went for 29. He went for 45, 46. So the rest of the 3 overs, he did 16 runs.
So he had a bad over. Okay.
He had 1 bad over. So what? Mitchell's. So, sometimes people have bad overs which cost only like 15 runs. Even in this World Cup, in this very same World Cup, Azmatullah Omarzai had a bad over which cost him 36 runs. And they're in the semi-finals. So it is, I generally, my whole thing was more than that one Starc over. I thought Australia bowled slightly fuller in the at least in the first 10 overs, which was surprising because their whole party trick is to bowl it hard on the pitch and take the pace off and make it hard for batsmen to hit them down the ground. They try to use the big squares, get batsmen caught. That kind of strategy is what Aussies go for. So I was surprised. I was even surprised that Zampa was bowling that full, man. And he was trying to, spin it also. So, which I don't think is his main strength. He keeps it in the line of the stumps and bowls it a little quicker, gives the batsman less time to hit. I don't know what happened. My assumption is that there was rain before the match, and before the match it was a little cloudy. So they thought, maybe Stark thought that, he may get some swing, he may get an edge,
and they chose to field also, no?
Yeah.
So that adds to the thing, yeah.
They chose to field primarily because they were in a run rate kind of situation. They wanted to know what they...
True.
Yeah. So that made sense. But I thought that's my surprise. One surprise that they bowled a little fuller, exception of Hazelwood, who was like... I saw they had like a pitch graphic near the end of his spell where he had bowled like 21 balls. There was one Yorker he attempted. After that, everything was like in the, short of a good length. He gave nothing away. And
that's pretty much been the length of the tournament, right? Because I think a lot of these pitches, it's been slowing down. Like the ball sort of grips and there's a little bit of a spongy bounce. And many bowlers have gone with that sort of length, even like Mustafizur, that length and little wide. So, and they've succeeded. Yeah. Kartikeya, India, Australia, Rohit Sharma's assault. Mahesh is not there. He would have spoken about Rohit Sharma non-stop.
Yeah.
What to speak? He just hammered. He was hammering from the World Cup beginning, man. Even before the World Cup, he was like starting to hammer from ball one. He changed his entire, limited overs.
I think that deserves a lot of credit. I mean, Rohit Sharma he has evolved to be evolving at this stage of his career. It takes quite something.
And even the results have not shown, but I think even Kohli is like that. And the day he lost like 40 balls, he still is going to make a big score, like a faster score. So even Kohli and Rohit, they have committed to this bit, even on that New York pitch where, 110, 120. They could have easily knocked the ball around, got into 130, but they said, no, this is how we are going to play. And and I am surprised how frequently Pant got to bat in the power play this World Cup. When Rohit and Kohli generally open, you expect them to play out like 7-8 overs, and then the rest of the team eventually behaves like a middle over batting unit.
Yeah, that's the Pakistan strategy, with what's his name and what's his name?
Babar and Rizwan.
Yeah.
Rizbar. But how frequently Pant came to bat like in the first 6 overs, and he has done really well, man. Pant at 3 is a phenomenal move. That has helped. Other batters. One batter that I'm not sure about in this Indian lineup is still Shivam Dube. I think he's there to hit the spinners, but it's not like you're going to get IPL level local spinners every time. So I don't know about Shivam Dube, but the rest are good. We are actually seeing the effect of Hardik Pandya at full tilt. The value that he brings to this team that he missed out in the ODI World Cup, they are reaping it here. The guy actually has bailed them out 2-3 times.
He gives you 6 bowlers, no? That's the main effect of that, I think, in this T20 is to give Rohit Sharma a lot more options every time. Like, he doesn't have to worry about, running out of quotas or overs. One of the reasons I think they're able to, use Jasprit Bumrah so much in the later half of the innings is because, they always use either Akshar or Hardik Pandya in the front. So yesterday, for instance, in the Australia-India match, Australia were 99 in 10 overs. But of those 10 overs, 3 had been bowled by Pandya. And Bumrah and Kuldeep and Akshar and Jadeja had a lot of overs in hand, more than 10. So That's sort of it's a luxury to have like three guys, Akshar, Kuldeep, and one of the things that has happened in this World Cup is that the pitches have not been like the normal like 180, 200 pitches as a rule, and so that has meant that the hitting deficit of Akshar, Jadeja, Dubey and Pandya compared to like say the English middle order or the Australian middle order has not really come to the fore. I mean, and of course, what it's also done is it's allowed like Kuldeep to come to have a say, and he's just a marvelous bowler. I mean, right? I mean, they're not pick. Nobody seems to be able to pick him.
Kuldeep is on another level. I mean, it's almost like people are trying to just merely guess what he's bowling. Nobody knows what he's doing. Nobody can figure it out. I mean, that Maxwell basically said, okay, I'm just going to walk down the pitch and see what I can do. And then he got bowled. And I don't think many people are picking him really.
Yeah, that's true. They're not picking him. And it's not just that they're not picking him. It's that his control is so good, And I mean, the wickets are offering enough that, it matters. I mean, one of the reasons why it's very hard for a IPL side to enforce this kind of control with the ball, right? Or to extract this price against team batters who are taking chances against them is that they can't like have an attack of this quality, right? They can't have a test quality attack, covering their 20 overs. Whereas in a World Cup, conceivably, like India or England or Australia or, South Africa, New Zealand, they can, whereas in franchise cricket, that's not possible. So, and especially if like the pitches are such that, there's something on offer, some movement in the air, like the new ball swings or, there's a breeze and the ground is the pitch is not the center square in the center of the square, and there's some boundary which is slightly longer than the other boundary, and there's something to be exploited from the breeze. Then this quality of bowling is good enough to like get something, at least to make it that much harder for the batter to succeed in the chance that the batter takes, because the batter is still going to take the chance. Because there's no possibility of like, there's no scope for not taking the chance. I mean, yesterday, I think like Rohit Sharma like got India about 25-30 runs above par in his innings. And that was enough in the end, I think. Because I think it was probably in retrospect, like a 170, 180 pitch, especially given like 2 test attacks, I mean, I think given 2 IPL attacks, it would have probably been a 200 place 200 match. But given that it was 2 test attacks, it was, and I mean, it was like that Stark over. Yeah, it went for a lot of runs, but I mean, I think it was still worth him trying to, to go for the wicket, because, Kohli was out early, and then if they had also got a second wicket, then, I mean, India would still have kept going for it, but, it would have been useful for them. And it was worth sort of seeing if one ball would move a little bit and give Stark something. So
he was gambling, saying that even if I go for 25, I'll get a wicket. Yeah,
that's what they are all doing. No, I mean, even Rohit Sharma was gambling, but his gambles came off yesterday. They don't always come off.
Yeah,
the thing is, you have to gamble. I mean, the thing that was so odd about Bangladesh, and I didn't watch the game, I was just following the score, is that, I mean, you look at the Cricket Info scorecard and it's not like they were swinging and missing. Do you see what I mean? Like, they were batting.
Oh, yeah. I saw that game, and it was absolutely infuriating. It was infuriating because here is a team, first of all, after the World Cup they had messed up quite a bit of the World Cup. They should have won games that they think. Then they get so close to a semi-final by needing to score at 10 and over. I mean, 10 and over against Afghanistan, and they got them all out they got them out for a low score. And then they are just pushing singles. Like, come on, man. I mean, you have a total in front of you. You either get all out for 60 and say, okay, I'm going to swing at everything and get all out, or you try and go for it. This sort of middle ground where you're playing some ridiculous game. And even if you win even if you win the game in 18 overs, it doesn't matter. You have to win in a certain over, like 12.5 overs or something that you have. It was absolutely infuriating to see that Bangladesh chase yesterday. I mean, it was neither here nor there, which is exactly what you don't want in that situation. Bizarre. And here's a team. I mean, here's a team that plays so much. They get so much of, they've played all these players have played so many years of international cricket, and still they are batting like they are newbies. And it's just, I don't know. I mean,
I think they did that with India also. I mean, at some point they just started tapping singles, and they
at least in that game, there was no like immediate urgency, right, to get to the thing. This was a very clear target.
No, man. See, the point is,
runs.
The point is, in India match, they could, if they had gotten to like 150 instead of the India made like 180 against them, right? Like if they had gotten to 150, where Rishad Hussain in that match, I remember he hit like a 25 runs of 8 balls or something, and he came way down late. If these guys could have gotten like 140, 150, at least try hitting against Hardik Pandya, man. What the hell, dude? So if they had gotten to 150, now instead of scoring 115 in 11 overs, it would have been like 14 overs. You would have gotten a chance. It's what I'm saying.
That is then, and now like you have no excuse. Like, okay, this is it. This is your tournament. You're going home anyway. Even if you win, you will go home. If you don't win in the required time, so there's only one task in front of you, and that one task also you didn't even go for it. It's not about Bangladesh losing. If Bangladesh had lost going for it, nobody would have blamed them. They would have been like, okay, this was their only chance. But the reason people are so angry is that they didn't even go for it.
I think there is some non-cricketing reason or something that it is. Because I don't think skill-wise there is any problem there.
Something is going on for sure. I mean, I remember that 1996 semi-final, West Indies, Australia, when West Indies were cruising to win, and then Australia and Shane Warne came and pulled it off. I mean, at the end of the game, after a few days, Richie Richardson said that, it was not just about cricket. And so, there was something else going on there. So it was, I'm guessing, I won't be surprised if there's some sort of ridiculous mismanagement or something going on with Bangladesh as well. But we won't know until the news comes out. I think India, as far as those 8 overs that India have with Bumrah and Kuldeep, I mean, those are gold, man. I mean, I think, and Rohit works that so well. I mean, in terms of when he bowls Bumrah and when he bowls Kuldeep. I mean, Bumrah has to bowl 19th and 17th, and then the 2 overs he sort of either goes 2 straight up, or he goes 1 in the beginning and 1 in the middle, and then of course Kuldeep is there to sort of bamboozle everybody with. I don't think really anybody is really reading what Kuldeep is bowling, and he's also bowling quicker. If you saw, there was that graphic during the last game, where they were comparing, I mean, of course, we have seen this in tests also, but, they were showing it in T20, how he's bowling that much quicker compared to 2019, in that 2019 World Cup, when he was, more, a little slower. And so to play this fastish spin, I don't think anybody is really able to do it with full confidence. So, those 8 overs, then Akshar is has had some good games. So basically, teams are left with having to absolutely hit Hardik and, Jadeja, who, they have to go. So apart from those 2 bowlers, it's going to be hard for teams. So England will find it tough, and especially Guyana conditions should favor India. So my prediction is India will enter the final, and South Africa, I think, will make that other final. Though Taruba, I might go with Afghanistan also. So,
I don't know, man.
Let's say India, Afghanistan.
I think it's hard to say who the conditions will favor. I think I think the 130, 140 conditions make for a noisier match. I don't think they systematically favor one team or the other. So because they make false shots more common, and so the effect of the outcome of a false shot has a bigger contribution to the score as a percentage of the total run scored. So it makes it noisier. It makes it more of a lottery, than say a 9 runs per over match. So I think it's going to be difficult for whichever team. I mean, look. I think from here, the team which wins the World Cup will have to be quite lucky to do it. And India have traditionally not had that luck in recent years.
So they will now. Let's say the law of averages helps them this time.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, Kohli is going to get a score at some point.
See, man, all these World Cups keep coming once every 3 weeks, man. Nobody cares. It's just an excuse for everybody to say no cup for 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. Nobody cares.
You're saying all this is building up to next year's IPL.
Yeah, that's the only thing that matters. What happens? Will Dhoni play or not is the only question as far as T20s are concerned in world cricket. All the others are rubbish. As far as this World Cup is concerned, if England does not win, this is a good World Cup. If England wins, we have all wasted our lives for nothing.
That we have done anyway. Come on. We are nearing on 200 podcasts, man. That is enough to waste part of our lives.
Immediately disband and go home.
Yeah, but come on, Ashoka. Put your neck on the line. Give a prediction for final at least, if not for winner.
What, Ashoka is what, KL Rahul or what to put his neck on the line?
As for numerology, I want South Africa to win. I want South Africa to win this, man.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be good. I think South Africa or Afghanistan winning will be fantastic. India, England, yeah, I think, let's put it this way. I think India will win this World Cup, but I would be extremely happy if South Africa or Afghanistan win as well. KD.
Yeah, I'd like South Africa to win it as well, but I have a feeling that India are going to win it.
All right. On that note, we will meet again after the final. We are not, I don't think it makes sense to do anything after the semi-final because by the time the episode comes out, the final will already have happened. So we will meet after the final. We will discuss our predictions and we will discuss everything else that happened in the 2 semi-finals and the finals. 81allout.com is our website. At 81allout is our handle on X. You please send your feedback as usual, and it'd be great if you have any ideas for future episodes. We have a few people who have already, in the last few days, actually, a couple of people contacted me with ideas on things we could talk about. Thank you so much for that. We'll try and get to those episodes. In the meanwhile, you can also check out the books that we have republished. I'll put the links out there. And we'll join you after the T20 World Cup final. Good night and take care. Thanks, Thanks, Ashoka. Thanks, Karthikeya. I'm saying thanks, Mahesh. Mahesh has not been coming, but thanks, guys.
Thank him for not coming.
Thank you, Mahesh, for not coming and taking the whole podcast over with the Rohit Sharma Puran.
Yeah.
Good night. Take care. Bye.
India have won the series.
They're going to get back for 2. India home. Lords goes wide.